My presentation is Building a Shed by Parker Eldeen. A little bit about me. My family, my mom and dad are Ryan and Jessica. My oldest brother Blake is graduated. I have a sister named Hannah who's a junior, a younger brother whose name's Hudson, he's a sophomore, and Maddie's my littlest sister, she's a seventh grader. Activities that I'm in are 4-H and FFA. I'm also in rodeo. I also attend Chancellor Youth Group. Hobbies, things I like to do. I like to go hunting. I like to fish. I like to ride four-wheeler out in the hills. I like to build things. I like to spend time with family and friends. My future plans are to go to STI for welding and work for my dad's HVAC company. And once I graduate from STI, I would like to start my own small welding business on the side. My mentor was Paul Gernwig. He owns Gernwig Construction, and he also owns the Lumberyard in Parker 605 Building and Supply. His wife's name is Stephanie. His sons' names are Kobe and Caleb. He has a little daughter whose name is Kylie, and they are our neighbors. My advisor is Miss Kay Plucker. Her husband's Joseph Plucker. Her sons are Pierce, Grant, and Mace. She's also a computer and business teacher for 7th through 12th grade. On my research paper, my thesis, although pole barns last a good amount of time, steel buildings will last longer at a more expensive cost. A steel building will last about 30 to 50 years on average. A pole barn will last about 15 to 20 years, but the cost of a steel building is going to be way more expensive than it would be for a pole barn to get put up. Main points, difference between a post frame and a steel frame. Interior finishes you can do on a post frame. And pros and cons of a post frame shed. My project, building a post frame shed, drawing the blueprints for it, buying the lumber and tools. The total cost for the shed that I built was $3,987.46. Total hours I spent down there was 52 hours. The process of building it, step one was figuring out where to put it down, like in our field. We didn't want it to be able to catch so much wind. We needed to find out how much lumber I needed and the steel also. The next step was picking up the lumber and steel from Menards and then drilling post holes for the posts to go into, putting posts in the ground and making sure to keep them level. Step three was to brace all the posts so they don't move. Frame the shed and place 2x4s where steel would be screwed to. So like all of these right here is where the steel would be screwed to on the sides. Step four was to make sure the shed is still square before starting on the roof. And then we started on the roof by figuring out the pitch and nailing it to the post at the right height. So down here it's a little lower than up here. And then nailing 2x6s to each rafter on the top right here, where steel will be screwed to on the roof. The next step was to cut the 4x4 post on the roof below the 2x6 height so the steel can float over them. So right here, there's these, and these were about a foot above the barn, so we had to cut them down. So these 2x6s would be at a higher height than the post so the steel could float over the top of it. And then cut the 2x6s that hang over the sides of the building. So right here, we didn't need any of this, so we just cut it off. The next step was put the steel on the sides of the building. We had to cut every piece to fit because the building ran at a slope right here, so it didn't collect any water and make it a big muddy mess down there. Put the steel on the roof after the sides of the shed. So right here, I'm just measuring the piece of steel and then we're cutting it and then screwing it to the thing. Step 7, the final step, was to go inside the shed and on each side of each post put rafter ties to secure the roof to the shed. This is a rafter tie right here. Put steel corners on the corners and put fascia on all the baseboards so there's no visible, just like 2x6s or anything. Finish it inside with plywood to keep horses from kicking through the steel. Finished product. Still need to do some finishing touches on the corners and along the back edge. So right here we still don't have the fascia because it was on back order and we're just waiting for it to come in. Tools and machinery used to build the shed. We needed a skid steer for the post hole auger. We needed the hydraulic post hole auger. We needed drills. We needed a nail gun, a skill saw that had a wood blade and a metal blade, a level, a framing square, a pencil or marker, a tape measure, tin snips to cut the steel. We needed a trailer and a truck to haul the lumber and steel, a ladder, hammer, and a sawzall. My learning stretch was organizing, setting times up that worked for my mentor and both my parents and I. How to operate hydraulics on a skid steer. Had to borrow the mentor's skid steer because ours gelled up. Budgeting, finding the best deals and wanting to stay under 4,000. And then I also had to learn how to draw blueprints, which my brother knew how to do because he also drew our house. Problems encountered. Uh, I was really bad at procrastinating. I waited till last minute to write my research paper. Um, COVID-19 materials were on back order. My mentor has a busy schedule with his businesses that he owns, and then I have a part-time job at Runnings in Sioux Falls after school. My thank yous are to Miss Plucker for helping me with my research paper, Miss Barnhart for making sure I get things done on time, Paul Gronwig, Paul Gronwig for teaching me how to do some things, my mom and dad for paying for it, my brothers, they helped build the shed because we needed a couple people, and then the judges for giving me their time. And any questions?